Please help me welcome our good friend Steve with his speech, Life as a Nomad. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Who here is born and raised Colorado? Show of hands. That's about what I figured. I actually thought I'd get at least one. So we're all here presumably by choice, or we ended up here because we wanted to. That's kind of the path I've taken since I got to college, when I've had a say in where I got to live. Up to high school, your parents kind of determine where you're going to live, right? Once you get to college, you start to get some freedom. So I thought it'd be fun tonight to share with you a little bit of how I ended up here, and really what I would say is my life as a nomad since college. So my journey began in the south suburbs of Chicago, which I've told you about the weather already in other speeches in Chicago. So my whole family's from up there, and I have an aunt and uncle. They get a job in Oklahoma, of all random places. They love it. You guys got to move down here. It's sunny all the time. You can go outside in December. You can play golf in November. People are nice, and houses cost half the price of what they cost in Chicago. You got to come down here. Okay, my entire family mass exodus to Oklahoma. So my developmental years were spent in not even Tulsa, Oklahoma, outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, in a suburb called Broken Arrow. 2 words. It's not as backwards as it sounds. It's just suburban sprawl. But so grew up there, high school there, college. I go to the University of Oklahoma. I changed my major a million times. End up with a degree in mechanical engineering because I like to complicate things. I decided I would go into IT, which had nothing to do with engineering. Take a job, I sign my contract, I buy a car, sign a lease for a new place in Dallas. I'm ready to start the next chapter. Packing up my college apartment, I get an email from the company I'm going to work for. Hey, you really fit the mold for the kind of people we're looking to send to Germany for a 2-year commitment. If you're interested, fill out this application and write an essay about why you'd want to do this. Okay, let's see. I've never been to Europe. I don't speak a word of German. I don't know anyone on the entire continent. But this is kind of intriguing. I don't know. I sat down to write this half-heartedly, and I just got sucked into it. And by the end of my essay, I'm like, I want to go to Germany. I want to do this. 2 days later, I get interviewed by a German partner. She says, I want to overnight you a contract that's good for 30 days. This is happening. Wait, hold on. What are we going to do here? I go out for beers with one of my best friends. Between beers 7 and 8, he throws his arm around me. He says, Steve, you're from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Get the hell out of here. Go get some culture. Sage advice, which I took. Get rid of the apartment, give my mom the car, I'm going to Germany. So 2 years in Frankfurt, incredibly difficult at first. Lots of things to adjust to. Best experience of my life up till then by far. Totally thrown into the deep end, had to learn German, met all sorts of interesting people, got to travel to all these places I couldn't even pronounce. It was just an amazing experience. 2 years is up. Okay, time to come back to the States. I end up, of all places, full circle back in Chicago. Transfer back there. Worked there for a year. Then I take a job with a startup. And that actually has me going back and forth between Chicago and Germany for a year. That fizzles out, take another job in downtown. So I'm back in Chicago now for about 6 years. Meet my wife, get married, all that stuff. And at some point in the middle there, we took a vacation to the West Coast. Fell in love. Seattle, Portland, Northern California. Oh my God, it's sunny here, and people are so happy, and they look so healthy, and they don't have to go hide in their apartment for 6 months of the year. What are we doing here? Why do we live in Chicago anymore? I mean, we've run our course at the big city, we've done all that. You want to move to wine country? Okay. So we up and moved to wine country. Santa Rosa, California, in Sonoma County. Who's been to wine country? Beautiful, right? Awesome experience. Who's lived in wine country? There's a reason you don't live where you go for vacation. It's a good place to relax. This is about how much stimulation you get. We think we all have in our head when you go there and go to wine tastings and you go to these great restaurants. That's what wine country, that's what people do here all the time. No, that's what you do when you're on vacation. You can only drink so much wine. wine country is basically a collection of small towns that are no different than small towns in Oklahoma or the mountains of Colorado. Small town people are small town people. We got really, really bored. It was very relaxing the first few months. We're like, okay, now what? Now what do we do? This is not going to work. We're not ready to retire. We're in our mid-30s. We got to do something here. Believe it or not, we moved back to Chicago, back into the same high-rise building, get pretty much the same kind of jobs, and we're settling back in. And it's great for the first couple months. And then we're realizing, oh God, I remember why I hated the city. It's so expensive, and there's no peace and quiet. And you know, that time in California really did change us. My wife, total city girl, loves to hike now. I don't know where that came from, but it's really fun. So we figured out, okay, wine country, way too quiet, way too off the grid. We don't need that. Now we're back in the heart of the one of the craziest cities. Way too much. Gotta find some middle ground. So we start thinking, what else is left? I mean, we've covered the middle. We've gone here. I've lived in Texas, Oklahoma. She's lived in Illinois. What is there? I got a buddy in Colorado. Yeah, let's go. So May of 2013, we book a flight. We come down to Denver, pick up the rental car, head to Boulder. Probably took us 15 minutes on that drive to decide, yeah, we're moving here. I mean, we're moving here. It had snowed 10 inches the day before, yet that day it was like tomorrow was going to be 60 degrees, sunny, the mountains are covered. I mean, come on, it's a postcard. We basically, the whole meeting with my friend was, so where do we want to live? Where do we rent? What's a good areas to live? So that was May of 2013. July 5th, we were living. So we've been here about a year and a half. I'm happy to announce no more cross-country moves. We're actually going to put roots down. So if you guys want to get to know me, I'm not going to bail. I'm actually here to stay. And now I think it's nice to know that I'm sure we're going to finally buy a house within 30 miles, I'd say, of where we're standing. We still need to figure out where we want to buy and all that, but it's really a huge load off my mind that we finally found the place that we want to spend the rest of our lives. So thanks for welcoming me to Colorado. It's nice.
Welcome to Colorado, Steve. Now moving on to our last speech.